Oh, that, I know.
TV screen. But that's where the comments are going to come up.
Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling.
All right, we're live. I'm going to connect to you all as well. Hey guys, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate you. We've got a great show happening this evening. A lot has been going on at the winery. We had our bottling crew in the house yesterday and a few others to get all your wine ready for wine club pickup this weekend. We're so excited about it and appreciate all the help that has been pouring their love into the bottles, starting from the vineyard itself and then the winemaker, and making some delicious wine. So that's what we are going to speak on, just that today. Nice. We've got some good content. So if you guys are hopping on, let us know where you're joining us from. Cool. We'll get right into it. So as you all know, this is Paul Bonaquisti.
Hi everybody.
Winemakers.
Good to see you.
And owner of this wonderful establishment. And I thought it would just be so appropriate today, and thank you, John Verdevec, for some insight on this as well, is talking about the rosé and what is just so special about Paul making it here in his own winery, and kind of that history behind it. So have a handful of questions to ask him, and I guess we'll dive right in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
I'm ready.
So let's start from here, and then we're going to dial back and go back in into the history of making rosé. So, Mr. Bonaquisti, if you could just tell us what this rosé of Sangiovese is all about. I know you and John had a live show, but yeah, share with us what we'll be sipping on this weekend.
Okay, first of all, Mr. Bonaquisti is my father. All right.
Oh, that's funny. I'm channeling him here too. I promise. He's always here with us.
Yeah. So. Okay, so rosé is really special to me because it's the first wine I learned how to make.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I grew up making wine with my dad in the garage, and we used to make rosé. So some were different colors.
Yeah.
You know, it varied from year to year, but we always blended Alicante, which is a red grape, and Muscat, or Moscato, is what we call it in Italian, Muscat Blanc. So we used to blend those two grapes and do it in different percentages every year. And and then the first year that I opened the winery here, that was the first rosé that I made right here. And we labeled it with the old Dalawa Rosé label. That's what we called it. So and this one, yeah,
Dalawa. D for some reason.
So Dalawa, Colorado was the old coal camp where my dad was born. My grandfather was a coal miner in Dalawa, Colorado, down near Trinidad. So, and that's what the label stands for. That's the family history on here. The coal track. My dad was a jeweler, and the wine, of course, because that's how my dad learned to make wine from my grandfather. And Daniel Luna painted this and said, "Wow, diamonds come from coal," and that's why it's all in one on one label. But when I first opened, we did this as a 55 Muscat, 45 Alicante. So it was kind of half and half, and this was a really fun rosé. So dry, of course. It looks a little darker in the bottle because it's been sitting up on the shelf for 15 years now.
Yeah, so crazy. Bring it up for you guys to see.
Yeah.
It's a cool photo.
So that's the fun part of, we got a customer coming in. So, but that's okay. So that's why rosé is very special to me.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Hi. So give us 1 second. We'll help this customer. We'll be right back with you guys. If you have any comments about the rosé, drop them in, and Paul can answer them.
Yeah.
Oh, you're telling me. Come on in.
Yeah. Drop us a comment, and I can sure answer questions for you. And while we get some refills going here on the tap. All right. So. Rosé of Sangiovese is what we just bottled yesterday, thanks to my crack bottling crew, who only cracked one bottle. And but this is what we did. This is 100% Sangiovese from a vineyard that we've been working with now with Kusal Vineyards since 2016. That was the first vintage that I started working with them. Very lucky, very fortunate to find a Sangiovese vineyard here in Colorado. And because Italian varietals, well, they're scattered around, but we just don't have overall not the right climate for Italian varietals to thrive. Otherwise, we see a lot of them. I'm sure of that. So, in this particular vineyard, it's funny. It's taken me 5 years now to finally figure out what to do with the grapes, and it is make rosé for the whole vineyard. So, all right, we have somebody say it's great. Thank you, whoever that was. It just says Facebook user. So, anyway, a little bit of history with this vineyard. The first year we had a very small lot. I made red with a real small batch of rosé on the side to see how it would do. Then the 2017, we made rosé in a style where I crushed all the fruit, and then I bled off some of the juice from the tank and put that aside to make rosé from, which is the French version they call Sangiovese, which is the bleeding method. And then I did that in 17 and 18, and then the last couple of years, 19 and 20, I dedicated. In 2019, I dedicated half the lot to rosé, and it came out really well. And then last year, 2020, we dedicated the whole lot to making this rosé. So the fruit was ripened up, not to a level where we could make red wine. Only came in at about 18 bricks, which is the measurement that we use. To give you a sharp contrast, red wines we would harvest at 25 bricks or 26 bricks. So that gives you an idea of how far off we were from getting fully ripened to make red wine. So we dedicated the whole thing to rosé. My son and I, so Vincent came out, and the grapes were harvested on October 2nd. We brought them down here to the winery, and then we crushed them directly into the harvest containers. And while they soaked and did this little maceration just to get a little bit of color, we started pressing the grapes, and we squeezed all the juice, and in the tank it went. So that's where I kicked off fermentation. The full fermentation took about 7 days to turn all the sugar into alcohol. Then we let it settle for another, 2 to 3 weeks to kind of get all those solids, all the dead yeast cells down to the bottom. And then I rack off all that juice into a tank. And then at one point, I put, I ran it into neutral barrels. See you later. I ran the wine into neutral white barrels, and I let them sit in there for about a month. I was at one point going to leave it in longer, but then I racked it out of the barrels, made a different decision, and there it sat in the tank until we got it ready a couple of weeks ago. I finished it off, got it filtered, cold stabilized, and in the bottle yesterday. Salute. One question would be, would Nebbiolo do better here? The only Nebbiolo I know of is with Red Fox cellars, and I know that they have a hard time getting it ripe too. It's kind of whatever happens in Colorado. If we get that really nice weather in October where it stays, hot and dry, 80 degrees. All through October, in the low 70s, then yeah, it can ripen up. But then once the cold weather comes, the grapes just stop ripening. So, and that's really the problem with this was picked on October 2nd, and like I said, it was at 18 bricks. It would have we'd have been lucky to get to over 20 for the next if we would have left it all through October. So. Yep.
Awesome. And Patty asked, yes, this, I don't know if you addressed this. I'm getting my messages a bit slower. But yes, it's in the next wine club. That's why we wanted to chat about it. I think just hearing the history and this being one of the first wine that Paul ever made, the first grape varietal, is a pretty cool story, and how rosés are starting to evolve. Did you already speak on that in the market now?
No.
Because I know that's been a question. You think back to, at least I do in college, thinking of a rosé wine is like a white Zinfandel, and it's $4.99 from Sutter Home, and that is just a terrible way to learn about rosés. And so maybe if you could speak on the evolution of that kind of wine, the blush wine.
Let me give you the evolution. My wife Judy, one of our first dates, I made dinner for her, and I bought a bottle of white Zin. She brought over a bigger bottle of white Zin. Okay? Hey, and salute, we're still married. Okay? 22 years later.
How funny.
23, whatever we're coming up on. So anyway, that's the evolution of, no.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, so white Zinfandel was Zinfandel's a red grape. So basically, rosés are a red grape made like a white wine. Short skin contact, or up to maybe a couple of days. It's all winemaker preference, depending on the color you want, depending on the grape. And then you squeeze it off and you just ferment the juice. So way back when, they made a mistake. This was in the 70s. I think it was Sutter Home made a mistake with their Zinfandel. Made some wine for the. I think I'm saying this right. They made it for the employees. It was sweet. It got stuck fermentation. It was pink, and everybody loved it. So that's kind of the basics of that story, and it took off. So for years, it's a gateway wine. People drink a lot of white Zin, a lot of sweeter styles until your palate kind of adjusts and you start trying other wines. But rosés are made dry around the world for years and years. And when I first opened here in 2006, it was important for me to make a dry rosé, which this was, but rosés were still people still thought of them as sweet.
Yeah. Right.
When they see pink wine, they were like, "Oh, wait a minute," So, and I would say in that first 5 years here, they began to bloggers, writers, writing about rosés, and they started to catch on, get more traction. Liquor stores, wine shops started carrying more dry rosé and pushing it on the public. And now, come on, now there's a hashtag.
Yeah, right.
So which is wonderful.
Yes.
And they come in
all day.
They come in all colors and styles, which is beautiful.
And Sutter Home is now served in your local church, so I don't think anybody's buying those off the shelves anymore.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well, good to see you guys.
Yep. So Patty asked if is rosé in the next wine club, and absolutely, we bottled it. For wine club. Yeah.
Yep. Terry says.
Yeah, Terry, salute. Yeah.
I agree.
Sutter Home is a horrible way to learn about any wine.
Pretty much. So. But, you're in college, and your palate hasn't really evolved into anything, so we didn't know any better.
Hey, it got me married.
There you go.
I hooked my wife, got her engaged. So, anyway. So, can we taste it?
Yeah, I tasted it.
Okay, cool.
Like 3 times.
Yeah, so, like I said, 100% Sangiovese, Colorado fruit was, I get this watermelon, a little bit of strawberry, a little bit of like apricot, stone fruit type of profile. And then when I taste it, yeah, always hits me. I get that real fruit explosion, and a little bit of grapefruit on the finish. So the citrus component in this would be hits me like grapefruit. So a lot of white wines have a lot of citric acid in them, and so they can come off as lemon or lime or grapefruit. So
that's wonderful.
It's very light. The alcohol's low, around 12%. It's probably a little bit comes in under. And you can drink an extra glass.
Yeah, your good old porch pounding wine. And yes, Carrie, we are excited for you to taste it. Thank you and Todd for everything you guys do. Awesome.
Good question. If I was making rosé of Sangiovese in Tuscany, I wish I could.
Wow.
Would you harvest early to make it? Yes. In general, to make rosé, you would harvest early. So it's the same for sparkling wine. When you're making champagne, they typically harvest 2-3 weeks earlier than what you normally would to make white wine, because you want that acid. So in my case, we harvested before the birds ate it all, but which was already October. So it's just a nature of this grape in Colorado. But yeah, in Tuscany, if you were dedicating that grape to making rosé, you'd want to harvest a little bit early. Fresh acid. Acid is the life of the party. It's the wine party. You need some good acid.
The acidity in wine, not the other acid.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Life of that other party.
Not the one you shoot. So anyway.
And did you talk about the different color variations, or why certain rosés are more pink? I guess I just see a little bit more like an orange hue in this one, or
yeah, this
does
one.
That mean anything?
Yeah, it all depends. Yeah, the colors are different. Like I said, based on the maceration time.
Okay.
I've made rosé in past years where I soaked it for 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So we crushed, put it in a tank, came back the next day, and then pressed it off, because I was looking for a darker color, more, maybe not that dark, but kind of a raspberry type of color. So and the different grapes have a lot to do with it too. So dark skinned grapes like Syrah, which Mourvedre, very common to make rosés out of. They have a lot of color in the skin, so
Yeah.
you can throw them right, direct press, what they say, that you just crush and go right into the press, and you'll get that real light pink. So for whatever reason, I came out with this pale salmon
Right,
type of color, almost copper, even. So, but it was just the nature of the grapes.
Awesome. Very cool. All right,
Hey,
guys.
and Luigi is watching in Italy.
How cool!
Buongiorno, Luigi.
Oh, that's awesome. A Bonaquisti in.
Yep, Luigi Bonaquisti, my cousin from Italy, who's watching, and his father, Rocco, was born in the same town my grandfather was born in Italy, Castro de Volci. So, wonderful family. Great to see you, Luigi.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah, Cindy. What's up, Cindy? Yeah, rosé season is coming, and that's why I'm excited about it. March is when rosés start coming out, flooding the liquor stores and the wine shops, and it's wonderful. And we're excited about ours. Hope it lasts through part of the summer.
Right? Yeah, so get it while it is hot off the press. So when you guys come in for Wine Club pickup this weekend, we will have plenty of extra to add to your boxes or bags. All right, great. So if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and drop it in the comment. Anything you want to ask Paul about the winemaking process, the rosé, or anything in general. But if not, thank you guys so much for joining us, and another week, full week, and we are looking forward to Wine Club pickup. You can start picking up tomorrow at noon. We will be open from noon to 6 tomorrow and Friday, and then Saturday from noon to 5. We'll have your orders ready.
Yep. And keep tuning in to Denver Wine Radio.
Yes.
All right, go to denverwineradio.com and listen to some tunes 24/7. Broadcasting live from the winery, and download the app if you like. We've got it in for iPhone and for Android. We'd love to play a request for you.
Absolutely. I love how your radio voice just comes right on.
It comes right on.
It's like, boom, like, whoa, it's on right
That's
now.
it.
It's cool. We love it. Oh, and we're doing charcuterie boards, so put your orders in. I'll have them all prepped and ready for you guys. I think that's... Yes, Patty, rosé all day. Perfect. Awesome. All right, anything else?
That's it. No, have a great night,
Cool.
and hope to see you this weekend.
Awesome. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, salud.